touch me. I said you will slip. I would rather fall. You already cried enough today. I hate you. That's unfortunate. Jungkook grip remained steady around her waist, not tight enough to hurt but firm enough to guide her safely through the pouring rain. Wine immediately tried to pull her hand away, but the wet ground made her hesitate. The forest around them swallowed every sound except the rain. Wine kept glancing around her, breathing uneven, fear slowly replacing her anger. This is actually insane, she muttered, voice shaking with frustration. Who brings someone to a forest and calls it protection? Cook, a person trying to keep you alive. Wine let out a short, disbelieving laugh, shaking her head as water dripped from her hair. Right, because this totally feels like survival. He didn't respond to her sarcasm. Instead, he continued walking toward the cabin, still holding her wrist so she wouldn't lag behind or slip on the wet ground. If I scream, she said suddenly, scanning the empty forest, people will hear me, right? Jungkook finally turned his head slightly toward her, expression unreadable. No. The single word made her freeze and mid-step. Excuse me, she whispered, eyes widening. There's no one's for kilometers. Jungkook added calmly as he was stating something completely ordinary. Wine stared at him like she was trying to decide if he was joking or if her life had officially turned into a nightmare. You're joking, she said quickly, voice sharper now. Jungkook, I'm not. Her gaze slowly moved around again, endless trees, heavy rain, darkness in every direction, no road, no light, no sound of civilization. Her stomach dropped. You are insane, she whispered more to herself than to him. Probably, Jungkook answered without hesitation. That calm agreement only made everything feel worse. Before Wine could step back, he gently pulled her forward again. Come inside. Wine stopped immediately, planting her feet on the wet ground. I'm not going in there first, she said firmly. Jungkook paused at the door, glancing at her. Why? Because I like staying alive in horror movies, she shot back instantly. A brief silence passed between them, rain hitting the roof loudly while the mine moved through the trees. Jungkook's expression tightened slightly, not anger but something closer to the mild irritation. It's not a horror movie. It looks like one. Wine snapped back. It's a worm inside. That's why they say before dying. Jungkook exhaled slowly through his nose as if collecting patience he didn't normally need. You are exhausting. And you're terrifying, Van replied immediately, still refusing to move. That finally made him look at her properly just for a second, then he Ryan blinked slowly, caught off guard. Wait, she muttered under her breath. Jungkook stood silently beside the door, giving her space but not pressure. I told you it's safe, he said simply. Ryan didn't move yet. Her eyes scanned the interior carefully, wooden walls, soft lights, a fireplace burning gently in the corner, no signs of danger, no weapons, no chaos. Still, her suspicion didn't disappear. You expect me to believe this? She asked, voice lower now. Jungkook shook his head slightly. No. That confused her. Then why am I here? She asked more honestly this time. Jungkook's gaze settled on her, steady and controlled. Because outside is worse. The moment her foot crossed the threshold, the warmth hit her fully. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Vine turned instantly, panic flaring again. You locked it, she said sharply. I closed it, he corrected. That's the same thing, she snapped. No, he replied, simply walking past her toward the inside the cabin. It's not. Vine stood frozen for a second, then crossed her arms tightly, watching him like he was still a stranger she didn't trust at all. I don't trust you, she said clearly. Jungkook didn't even pause. I didn't ask you to. That answer made her more irritated than anyone else. Vine exhaled sharply, eyes narrowing. This better not be some kidnapping arc in your head, she muttered. Second room on the left, Jungkook spoke calmly while ignoring what she just said, acting as if bringing her to an isolated cabin in the middle of a forest was completely normal. Wine immediately looked suspicious. Why? To sleep? Alone? Jungkook looked at her blankly for a second. Obviously, Wine still looked unconvinced. After everything that happened tonight, trusting him felt impossible. You expect me to trust you? No, the answer came instantly. That honestly caught her off guard more than a lie would have. Then why would I go inside a room alone here? Jungkook walked toward the kitchen calmly because standing dramatically in the hallway won't improve your situation either. Jungkook loosened the sleeves of his black shirt before speaking again. You can lock the room if it's make you feel better. This time, surprise flickered across Vine's face slightly. She didn't expect him to give her privacy. Without another word, she slowly walked toward the room. The second she entered, click, she locked the door immediately. Only then she did finally breathe properly. The room itself looked warm and peaceful. Soft light glowed against the wooden walls while rain tapped gently outside the window. But none of that comfort mattered because Kang Wan still believed she was trapped inside a mafia hideout. Meanwhile, outside, Jungkook leaned tightly against the kitchen counter while another man placed bowls of the ramen onto the table. This is Frick, young, handsome, half Korean and half Australian, one of the few people Jungkook trusted completely. Frick glanced toward Wan's locked room. She's still crying. Jungkook rubbed his head forehead tightly. She thinks I'm going to murder her. Frick winced slightly. Well, you did throw her over your shoulders like a kidnapping scene. Jungkook, she refused to cooperate. You threatened to drag her. Jungkook, she was yelling. You literally are a mafia boss. Jungkook slowly lifted his eyes toward him. One cold stare was enough. Frick immediately raised both hands. Okay, okay, relax. Silence settled briefly before Jungkook glanced towards one room again. Did she open the door? Frick, no boss. I knocked twice. A quiet sigh escaped Jungkook. Forget it. Frick placed the ramen bowls properly onto the table. At least eat first. But Jungkook was already walking toward her room. He knocked twice, no answer. Kangwan, inside the room, Wan sniffed immediately hearing his voice. Another knock followed. You need to eat. Ryan had her knees tighter beside the bed. Jungkook opened the door. Jungkook said calmly, no, you're being dramatic again. You kidnapped me. You are alive. Ryan looked offended instantly. This line is becoming very irritating. For the briefest second, Jungkook almost smiled. Almost. Open the door. No. Jungkook leaned one hand beside the door. If I break this door, you will lose your privacy completely. Inside the room, Ryan's eyes widened immediately. You wouldn't care. Jungkook, I would. Actually, he absolutely wouldn't. You think I care? She suddenly shouted, voice cracking through the closed door. You think I care if you break it? Jungkook went still, her voice rose again sharper this time. You're Mafia, right? You always act like you can do anything, so do it. She yelled, tears already gathering in her eyes. Break the door, break everything. You already brought me here against my wish, so what's left? A shaky breath slipped out of her as her anger broke into something heavier. I didn't ask for this, she cried, voice breaking completely now. I didn't ask for to be taken, locked in a room, told when to eat or sleep. I'd like I don't have choice. A loud thud hit inside the door, her hand or maybe her fist. It didn't matter. The frustration was all the same. Can't you understand? She shocked out, tears falling freely now. I need space. I need control over something in my life, even if it's just a doll. I can. Outside, the Jungkook didn't move for a moment. The hallway felt heavier than before. His jaw tightened slightly, but not in anger this time, something more restrained. Inside, one voice dropped into a broken whisper. Or is that too much to ask from you? Silence followed again, but this time it was different. Not tense, just heavy. Jungkook exhaled slowly, looking at the door as if he could see through it. For a second, his hand hovered near the wood, then stopped. He straightened. Only Frick stood there beside him, no guards, no crowd, just his closest man, more like a friend who had seen too much of his world to be surprised anymore. Frick didn't speak immediately, he just watched Jungkook, then the door. Finally, he muttered quietly, she's not asking for freedom from you, just breathing space. Jungkook did answer, a long pause passed, then Jungkook spoke, voice lower, control. Provide her food and clothes while she comes out. Frick nodded. Got it. Frick walked away, footsteps fading. Jungkook remained there for a moment longer, eyes fixed on the closed door, not breaking it, not forcing it, just standing still, as if for the first time control wasn't what mattered most. To be continued.